Do you know the letters O, B, C? Are you familiar with onboard credit? Does it make you scream, free money? Well, a lot of people do that, and it's a mistake. In today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, we're going to talk about the smarter way to use your onboard credit. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lido Loca Cruise Show. I'm your host, Tony. If you enjoy that cruising content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of our episodes. Welcome back to the next installment of the Cruise Cheap series. This is the series where I tell you how you can cruise cheap. I give you the tips, I give you the insider secrets on how to cruise cheap. And today, I think the message is super important. Don't treat your onboard credit as free money. But you might say, hey, Tony, but it is free money. Like, I didn't pay anything for it and I got the money. Right. Let me give you a quick technical definition of what onboard credit is. Onboard credit is credit that is put onto your ship account on board. The big idea is that when you go cruising, you have a shipboard account. That account gets credited. It gets debited when you buy stuff. And if you have an onboard credit, you could start your cruise already with extra money. Onboard credit. And cruise lines give onboard credit as an incentive, maybe to book during a promotion. If you're part of a group cruise, sometimes you get an onboard credit. It's realistic that you could get on a cruise ship and already have $50 to $100 or even more credited to your shipboard account that you could spend before you even have to come out of pocket to pay any kind of bill. And because of that circumstance, again, a lot of people treat this money like free money. And it's a mistake, because you can use onboard credit for almost any of your onboard cruise expenses. You don't have to save it and just buy pictures. You don't have to save it and just buy souvenirs. You don't have to save it and just blow it on something that you're not interested in for the sake of blowing it. You can use onboard credit for real onboard cruise expenses. Like what? Okay. Like your gratuities, for example. The cruise lines, they do a good job of marketing. Why don't you go ahead and prepay your gratuities? We're going to assign you gratuities every day, but boom, you could get that out of the way before you go on a cruise. You could prepay that gratuity. Well, you know what? If you prepay your gratuity, you can't use your onboard credit for it because you already paid it out of your pocket. How about another one? Excursions. The cruise lines, they want to incentivize you to book an excursion early, so they may give you a little discount if you pre-book your excursion. I believe in pre-booking. Don't hear me not say if I'm pre-booking, but if I've got onboard credit, I am hesitant to pre-book anything, because you know what? If you find a $100 excursion and you have a $100 onboard credit, it doesn't cost you anything. Let's work the math. Okay, I found a $100 excursion. I'm going to pre-book it for a 10% discount beforehand, so I'm going to pay $90 out of my pocket for the $100 excursion if I book that before I go on a cruise. And now I know I've got $100 onboard credit, so instead of pre-booking that excursion for $90 out of my pocket, I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to let the discount go by. I'll wait till I get on the cruise ship and I book the same excursion for $100, but I've got $100 of onboard credit. It didn't cost me $90 out of pocket. $90 stays in my pocket, and I've used my onboard credit for a legit expense instead of trying to find creative ways to use my free money. And look, to be honest, the cruise lines, they don't care if you use this money wrong. It actually works in their favor. There is a strategy in the cruise industry is to get people to prepay as much as possible and then spend more money on the cruise ship. So if you got a big pile of onboard credit and you've already prepaid everything and you're just using your onboard credit for stuff that you wouldn't normally buy, you guess who's winning in that situation? It's the cruise lines. It's tricky. You get what I'm saying here? Legitimate cruise expenses could be paid for by onboard credit. I'm talking if you're going to buy the Wi-Fi package. I'm talking if you're going to buy the drink package. Think of that. If you've got a $50 onboard credit and you're going to buy the drink package, instead of prepaying the drink package, you could get a whole days of drinks for $50 for one person almost, instead of buying pictures. Now, I know people like to buy pictures, nothing against pictures, but in the list of expenses that are legit cruise expenses, that are essential cruise expenses, pictures come down here for me behind, you know, food and drink and gambling, stuff like that. It's going to be a different list for everybody. So again, nothing against the picture people, but whatever that is, if you are trying to find creative ways to spend your onboard credit, then you're doing it wrong. Do not prepay stuff that you could use your onboard credit for, because money coming out of your pocket is your money, where the onboard credit is already there for you to use on the cruise ship. And look, I did mention gambling in my list. Are you somebody that takes a few $100s as your bankroll for the casino? You know what? You can use your onboard credit for that. If you're somebody that travels with $300 and you've got a $100 onboard credit, only take $200 and use your $100 onboard credit instead of spending that in some other way. You've saved money. You are now cruising cheap. The simple question today is, what do you use your onboard credit for? What do you like to prepay? Do you think of onboard credit as free money? Do you want to know how to get more onboard credit? I've gotten hundreds of dollars playing the My Vegas app. I did a video about how to get into that. I'll leave it right there, and make sure you check out the last episode of Cruise Cheap. It's about how to save money when you book a cruise. Thanks so much for stopping by. This is Tony with the Lido Loca Cruise Show. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.